Welcome to Spring LIB.
So we start at the old oak tree and go 0.825 meters, which is 0.825 kilometers southwards. And then you move at an angle of 30 degrees for 1 kilometer. I'm sorry, 1.25 kilometer. And then you move at an angle of 32 degrees north of east for a distance of 1 kilometer. Now, finally, you come back to your original position. Let's say our initial displacement was vector S1, second displacement is vector S2, third displacement vector S3, and the final displacement vector S4. Now, let's write down the vectors. We can see that S1 vector is simply minus 0.825 j hat because it is in the minus y direction and has a magnitude of 0.825 kilometers. Whereas S2 bar would be, because this angle is 30 degrees, the angle of the y-axis, we can write it as 1.25 sine 30 I hat. But because the x component is in the negative, because it is in the negative x direction, we put a minus here, plus 1.25 cos 30 j hat, which turns out to be minus 0.625 I hat plus 1.08 j hat. Now, vector S3 would be simply 1 kilometer, which is 1 multiplied by cos 32 I hat plus 1 multiplied by sine 32 j hat, which is 0.848 I hat plus 0.53 j hat. Now, because you end up at the same position you started initially, we can write S1 bar plus S2 bar plus S3 bar plus S4 bar is equal to 0. And hence S4 bar is minus of S1 vector plus S2 vector plus S3 vector. By doing the math, we can see that this is minus 0.223 I hat minus 0.785 j hat. Now, the magnitude of this vector can be found out using Pythagoras theorem, and it would be 0.223 squared plus 0.785 squared, which turns out to be 816 meters or 0.816 kilometers, which would be the length you have to walk to get back to the oak tree. And the angle would be tan inverse of the y component divided by the x component, which would be 74.1 degree. And this would be from the negative x-axis. Hence, this angle would be south of west, because negative x-axis is in the west direction, and then you turn downwards, which is south. Obviously, we have chosen our compass as usual. Up is north and right is east. Now, as you can see from the diagram, we expect this vector to have a large y component and a small x component, which is satisfied, and we expect both of them to be negative because it is in the third quadrant, which is also here. Hence, this seems like that is reasonable.